Lads and ladies, welcome to a new video. And today I'm going to do my EFL League One predictions tonight. So let's see how this goes. We've done National League and League Two predictions. If you've not watched them, go back and watch them now before this video. But yeah, let's see how this goes today. But we're going to do something a little bit different today. So what I did with National League and League Two is I read out the signings that all the clubs made and the sales they made. I can't really do that with League One because League One clubs and Championship, I'm going to do the same with Championship as well. They tend to make a lot of signings because they need bigger squads and they sell a lot of players, like I said earlier, because they've got a big squad. So that's why I'm going to do this format a little bit differently today. So yeah, we'll see how it plans out. I've just had to guess, to be honest, and predict, because the point of predictions is to guess and try and have a good explanation as to why I put this team in this position, really. So we'll see how it goes, and I hope this goes well for all of you. Before I start, join my EFL League on Fantasy EFL Ballers. So let's see. Come on, let's see how this goes. So to start off with 24th place, and I've gone for Exeter. These finished 16th last season, and I just feel like it might be just a bit too much for him. But in terms of signings, I'll literally just go over their best transfer. Joe Whitworth, 100%. They had him last season on loan from Palace. They managed to bring him back for another loan. So it's a very good signing, but I just think the squad overall is not good enough, I don't think, in my opinion. In terms of departures, which is really going to hurt them, is Vincent Harper. He's gone to Walsall, and he was a defender. So it's a big miss. You're going to miss out on a big defender, really. So that's why I think you'll go down, unfortunately. In 23rd place, I've gone for Stevenage. Now, these finished 14th last season. But same with Exeter. I don't think they've really invested well. But in terms of their best transfer, Chem Campbell on a free transfer from Wolves is probably their best player that they've signed. But in terms of how he's done in his career, I think he's been on a few loans. He was at Reading and Wycombe and Charlton a couple of times, scored 5 goals and 2 assists at Reading last season. So not too bad for a midfielder, but you know, it's not the greatest signing in the world, but it's probably their best signing in my opinion. But in terms of who they've let go, who's the best player they've let go of? Probably, I don't know. Probably, I mean, Aaron Presley for me probably is their best player they've probably let go. He's a forward, and they let him go to Walsall, and that's probably their best player they've let go. In terms of stats, he scored a total of 4 goals at Barrow last season, but there's not really much to show because he's not really done much again. So yeah. In 22nd, I've gone for Mansfield. Now, Mansfield were not the greatest last season, but they did well to stay up, and well done to them. In terms of their best player they brought in, probably Luke Bolton. I think he's a full-back from Wrexham, so not too bad of a signing there. I'll look at his stats for you. He's a midfielder. I do apologise. 17 games, only 1 assist, but I mean, he's probably their best player. And Mansfield haven't really got much, but they've got Lee Gregory, and he didn't do too bad last season. So yeah. In terms of who they've let go, they have let go their best player. Actually, though, they haven't really let anybody go. Their squad's pretty much the same as last season. They've loaned 4 players, and Jordan Rhodes, probably him, but he weren't really the best at Blackpool. So, you know, but oh well. My final relegation spot then, AFC Wimbledon in 21st place. Newly promoted side, obviously got promoted via the playoffs in League 2. but I just don't think they'll survive. I just don't think they've really got the squad. But in terms of the best transfer, I've gone for Nathan Bishop on loan from Sunderland. He didn't really keep that many clean sheets at Cambridge. He only kept 2, but that's probably because Cambridge's defence weren't that good last season. So, but I think he'll do well at Wimbledon, but I don't think he was there. I don't think he'll do that well. In terms of their best player that they've lost, I want to say Paris Locke, I think, is their best player they've got rid of. He was a striker, and he didn't really score many goals. Oh well. In 20th place, I've gone for Burton. Now, the reason I put Burton 20th again is because they do have that firepower in them to keep themselves up, and obviously they're a team that are not too bad. They do tend to mostly be in the bottom 4 most of the season, but they are a decent side in a way. So I think they do, like I said, they do have the chance. They do have the squad to stay up, but you know, it can be hard for teams like Burton to stay up sometimes, but they've got a decent squad and they've had a decent transfer window, but none of the players look very appealing, really. They've not really brought that many players in. I mean, they brought Jake Beasley, who's a forward from Blackpool, not scored many goals though. Kyron Lofthouse from Barnsley, he's not a bad player either. So, you know, but oh well, they've done well, and they've only lost 1 player to Derry City, so they can't really be complaining too much, Burton, so well done. You'll stay up again. 19th place, I've gone for Northampton, and these finished 19th last season, and I think they'll do it again. They were lucky last season to nearly avoid relegation, because they could have been down in League 2 if there weren't worse teams such as Shrewsbury and Cambridge who were down there. So I thought they were lucky to stay up, but in terms of transfer window, they've done well, actually. Jordan Thornley on loan from Oxford, that's a good loan. And Jack Burrows from Coventry, that's a fantastic signing to bring in as a free agent as well. Brilliant. Elliot List is a good player from Stevenage, sorry. So they've brought in some decent players to stay up. But in terms of players they've let go, they've not really let anybody go of good calibre. So, well done to Northampton, you'll stay up again. In 18th place, I've gone for Peterborough. Now, the reason I've gone for Peterborough is what I get annoyed about with this Peterborough. They sell the best players and they don't replace them. Because they've sold, in total, Malik Mothersilly to Stockport, Emmanuel Fernandez to Rangers for £2.9 million. I'll go over who they brought in a minute. Ricky J. Jones to Watford, Kwame Poku to QPR, and they're the best players and they've got rid of them all. And, you know, I mean, that £2.9 million you've got from Emmanuel Fernandez, what have you spent it on? All you've spent it on is Brandon Keller from Birmingham. He's a decent 850k. He's a decent player, but that's all you brought in. You're not going to do much if you've just brought one good player in to replace 4 or 5 good players. What are you going to do? You're not going to do much, are you? I didn't think to put these relegation, because I don't think they're really much of a relegation side. I think Darren Ferguson's a good manager, so I think he'll keep you up and he'll do a good job next season. In 17th place, I've gone for newly promoted Bradford. Now, I think they're a good team, Bradford, but I think the main reason they'll stay up is because I think they've kept the core of their squad, and they've got good fans as well, especially in a 25,000 capacity stadium. They'll do well at home, you'd like to think. But in terms of transfers, Curtis Tilt from Salford, not a bad signing at all. Stephen Humphreys from Barnsley, again, not a bad signing. Max Power from Aarhus, who's a Danish team. Roy White, he used to play for Wigan, I think. I'm not sure, but, you know, yeah, good signings for Bradford. But I did say they managed to keep the core of the squad. And yeah, they've not really let anybody go, apart from Callum Johnson to Gateshead. They've pretty much kept the core of the squad, so you should be happy, Bradford, because you're going to stay up. In 16th place, I've gone for Rotherham United. Now, these did awful last season. Absolutely awful. These were 15th last season. And for a side as big as Rotherham are, you should be fighting for the playoffs, really, Rotherham. You shouldn't be down in 15th, you know. But I think they'll do even worse, to be honest. They just didn't do well. And in terms of transfers, all you brought in is Daniel Gore on loan from Man United and Josh Benson from Barnsley. That's all you brought in, really. And then in terms of departures, you've got rid of Andre Green, so I think that's a Greek side. Obviously, Andre Green used to be a Wednesday player. Hakeem Odefini were a fantastic player at Rotherham. He's gone to Luton. Cameron Humphreys as well to Port Vale. Dylan Phillips to Hull. 3 big players you've lost there. And again, you've not really replaced them. But let's hope Cameron Dawson, he's going to have a banging season, I think. He'll do very well. He knows League One, so I'm sure Cameron Dawson will do very well. And I hope he does. 15th place, I've gone for newly promoted Doncaster. Donny they played really well last season in League 2, and well done to them for getting promoted. And I think you'll have a really strong season back in League 1. They've made a few transfers, but I'd say the best one is probably Sean Grennan on loan from Palace. He's probably their best. Oh no, he's a permanent. My bad. He's a permanent player, so I'm sure he'll do well for you. But in terms of departures, I mean, Donny have only just got rid of players to lower league clubs. Bobby Faulkner is probably their biggest loss to Harrogate Town in League 2 on a loan deal. So that's probably about it. That's probably why I think you'll stay up, because like with Bradford, you've kept the core of the squad, and if you do that, you'll play well. You'll do well this season, Donny. I'm sure you will. In 14th place, I've gone for Lincoln City. Now, these finished 11th last season, so they had a pretty good season. They managed to get in the top 12, but I think they'll just do a little bit worse than last season. But in terms of the best transfer, probably Sonny Bradley from Derby. Probably their best signing. He's young, so I'm sure he'll do well there. Best player they've probably let go. They don't have Bailey Canamarchi for this season because he come back to Wednesday. But the best player they probably got rid of. They haven't actually got rid of that many players. Sean Rugen to Huddersfield is probably their best player that they've lost. So, and that's probably about it. Another player they've lost is Alistair Smith to AFC Wimbledon, but that's probably about it. So, well done to Lincoln. You'll do well again this season. In 13th place, I've gone for newly promoted Port Vale. Now, there's 2 main reasons as to why I put these here. First of all, George Byers is an absolutely fantastic player. He knows this league, so he will do brilliant. Another reason, Darren Moore. I mean, I'm gonna predict Port Vale high because of Darren Moore, because he knows what this league's all about. He's done it with Wednesday. He did well with Donny in League 1, so I'm sure he'll do well with Port Vale. So they're my main 2 reasons, but I'm not going to go into too much detail about that either. Transfers-wise, they've brought in Liam Gordon from Walsall and Jordan Shipley, I think he's a goalkeeper from Shrewsbury. They're, in my opinion, are my best signings, in my opinion. They've only got rid of Raheem Harper to Barrow, but he was probably their best player as well. Nathan Smith to Tranmere. Again, not too bad of a player, but again, I think Port Vale will do very well, and good luck to him. In 12th place, I've got Wigan. These were awful again last season. They were awful. The reason I think they will get up the leagues is because they brought in Paul Mullin on loan from Wrexham. Yes, he only got 6 goals, I think, but he knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, and so you've got a good player on your hands, Wigan. So that's why I think you'll do a bit better than last season, probably because of Paul Mullin. And I think overall the squad's not too great, but if Paul Mullin can carry you, then you'll do well this season, Wigan. In 11th place, I've gone for Wycombe. Now, Wycombe weren't too bad last season. Obviously, they got in the playoffs. But the reason I think they'll they'll struggle is because obviously they lost the manager last season to Luton, and they've not really done much in the transfer window. Well, the players I've looked at, they don't really look too appealing. But, you know, I mean, like I say, if you don't strengthen, you're not really going to do well. And that's why I think Wickham may struggle. But, well, obviously it's just my opinion, really. But we'll see how they're doing this season. In 10th place, I've gone for Bolton Wanderers. The reason I've put Bolton so low is because of how bad they were last season. And because they don't really have a good goalkeeper, because they got rid of Nathan Baxter to Watford, and they got rid of Ricardo Santos to Swansea, and he's a brilliant defender, Ricardo Santos. I can't believe they got rid of him. But you know, Bolton, you've not really strengthened. The only player who probably is a good player is that Xavier Simmons. I think he's from Hull. So apart from that, you've not really done much. But who knows how you do? I mean, you've got rid of Luke Southwood. I think he went on Luke Southwood. Yeah, I think he's called that. As well, and he could have probably been your main keeper. But you know, oh well. That if that's going to be your activity in the transfer window, you're going to struggle. 9th place, I've gone for Leyton Orient. Now, the reason I've gone for Leyton Orient to struggle a little bit less than last season was because, because I think there's just too much bigger teams in this league for Leyton Orient. Yes, I would have loved to see Leyton Orient in the Championship. I absolutely would have loved to see them. Going to Brisbane Road, I think that's what the stadium's called. But in terms of transfers, they've done really, really well. Tyreek Backinson from Wickham, former Wednesday player, he didn't play too bad at Wickham, you know. Josh Cromer from Huddersfield's a fantastic signing. And to replace Josh Keeley, I think that's his name, Tommy Sinkin on loan from Stoke. He were at Walsall last season. He did incredible. So that's a fantastic loan signing. And I think he'll do very well at Leyton Orient. And I do hope that Leyton Orient do well this season. Because it's nice to see the small clubs do well. In 8th place, I've gone for Reading. Now, I do have to give credit to Reading because they finally got rid of their awful owner, Dai Young. He was an awful owner. So I'm glad they've got rid of him. I just wish we could get rid of Dave on Chansiri quicker, but obviously Wednesday just don't do that for some reason. But oh well, we're not here to talk about Wednesday, we're here to talk about Reading, who are predicted to finish 8th. But the reason I predicted them to finish 8th is because they've not really done well in the transfer window. They've only brought in Matty Jacob on loan from Hull, and then Daniel Kirizawa from Preußen Munster in Germany. So they've not really done much, but in terms of who they've got rid of, this was a very strange one. I can't believe they've got rid of David Button to Ipswich. What's he going to do at Ipswich? Just sit on the bench? Tyler Binden, obviously, he were at Reading last season, led from Forest, obviously he's gone. And then we've got Salif Amadou Mbenge, he went to QPR. And then Jaden Warham to Exeter as well. So you've lost a couple of players, and it doesn't really help Reading. So, yes, I think you'll do well this season, but you're not quite playoff bound as of yet. Maybe in the 26-27 season. Not quite this season, though. 7th place, just to miss out on the playoffs, I've gone for Blackpool. Now, obviously, Blackpool are managed by Steve Bruce, and I just think that Blackpool will do better than last season, that's for sure, but not, again, like Reading, not quite good enough for playoff bound, unfortunately. I think the best player they brought in is Fraser Horsfall from Stockport. I think he was very good at Stockport last season. But in terms of, you've not really got rid of many players, apart from maybe Robert Apter to Charlton for £2.3 million. You've got the money, but can you spend it in August? Because August is coming up, the season's next week. So you kind of got to spend it in next month. You've got to spend that money. Because if you want to be playoff bound, you have to spend. You've got to spend big. And you've got rid of a player for 2.3 million. And you can do a lot with 2.3 million in League One. But we'll see how Blackpool do. But I hope good luck for this season. 6th place then, I've gone for Barnsley. Now, the reason I've gone for Barnsley, I know they did really bad last season, finished 12th. not like Barnsley really. They should really be in a playoff space really, but I think Barnsley will do better because of bringing David McGoldrick. I think he's a fantastic player, did so well at Notts County last season. So that's my main reason why I think they'll do better. But they've got rid of 19 players, so I think they'll do much better because they've got rid of that many players. Max Waters, Corey O'Keefe, Callum West, Kyron Lofthouse, them sort of players that don't really want to be there. So they've got rid of them players. That will probably improve the dressing room happiness. So we'll see how that goes for Barnsley, and I'm sure they'll do well this season. In 5th place, I've gone for Stockport. They did so well last season, finishing 3rd. Really unlucky in the playoffs, obviously losing to Leyton Orient. But Stockport, they'll do better this season for sure. You've got the squad too. Though I didn't realise last season how good you really were. I thought you were going to probably be mid-table, but you've proved everybody wrong. But you've signed Joseph Aluwu from Donny, who's a good player. Teo Eden from Peterborough, good player as well. Malik Motherseal from Peterborough. Corey O'Keefe on loan from Barnsley. 4 good players there. In terms of departures, you've not really lost many players apart from Isaac Olafeli for 1.8 million to Charlton and Fraser Horsfall to Blackpool. 2 big players, but yes, but you'll still do well this season. You've got the squad to get playoffs and go for it again, that's for sure. In 4th place, I've gone for Cardiff. Now, the reason I've gone for Cardiff is because I thought they were unlucky last season in the Championship. I don't think they were they didn't play too well, hence why they got relegated. But ownership problems didn't really help. So, but the reason I have put Cardiff 4th, they haven't signed anybody. You haven't signed anybody. All you've done is obviously all your loans are returned. But in terms of players you've lost Callum O'Dowda to Ferencvaros in Greece, and Michael Reindorf to Newport on loan, but I don't think he was very good actually. So, but that's what I just don't think you're good enough, Cardiff, to get automatic promotion. You might be good enough to get promoted, maybe, but you're not good enough for automatics. I'm telling you that for a fact. You're not good enough. In 3rd place, might shock a few people here, but I've gone for Huddersfield. Now, I've seen a lot of people put these in the top 2, but I think they'll struggle because of the players that they've lost. But let's talk about the players they brought in. They brought a lot of good players in, Huddersfield. Alfie May, one of them. He's a brilliant player. I can't believe he's not playing in the Championship. So, well, I'm glad as a Wednesday fan. I wouldn't like to see him in the Championship from my point of view. Jack Watmore from Preston, decent player. Josh Feen on loan from Villa, not bad as well. Owen Goodman on loan from Palace, not bad either. And yeah, that's probably about it. But in terms of departures, this is what worries me. Josh Karoma let go to Leyton Orient, and that's probably about it. And probably Brodie Spencer to Oxford, probably a big loss as well. But yes, you've got definitely they will fight for top 2 this season. But there's two teams that will get the top 2 and are good enough for the top 2, and I think just a bit better than Huddersfield in my opinion. In 2nd place, I've gone for Plymouth Argyle. I feel bad for Plymouth. These struggled last season only because of Wayne Rooney, so you can't really complain, can you? Considering he did so bad for you, and Mercilic was a brilliant manager. Obviously, he's left now, but in terms of signings, you've not really brought anybody in calibre, but I suppose Luca Hammond Ashby from Fulham's not a bad player, and Ayman Benares, he's not a bad player from Bristol as well, Bristol City, sorry. But in terms of departures, Makam Talarovsky to Stoke for £2 million is a big loss. Callum Wright to Barnsley is a big loss. Callum Wright to Wigan. Nathaniel Ogbeta to Barnsley. 2 big losses there. But in terms of the squad itself, I think it's a decent squad, and it's good enough to definitely get the top 2 in my opinion. So top of the league then, I have gone for Luton Town. I'm not going to make... I did make quite a big mistake last season with Luton, and did say they would win the league, and they only gone and got relegated. So that's a really big stinker, that. But I'm going to predict Luton to win the league again, because they're going to win it, because they've got a good squad. But in terms of signings, they've really, really impressed me this window. They brought in Josh Keeley on a permanent £1.2 million. I thought he'd probably go to a championship club. But to get him on a permanent deal is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Gideon Koduo on loan from West Ham is not a bad player at all. Nigel Lewinch, he's Dutch by the way, he's on loan from Wolves. Hakeem Adofin, not a bad player from Rotherham. And Naki Wells as well. That's a fantastic signing. So they've had a fantastic window. Players they've lost, I think Rudek Pelian Panzu is probably the only player they've lost who's probably worth something. Went to Cambridge. Reece Burke to Charlton's a big loss. Tilo Asgard to Rangers is also a big loss. £4 million he was sold for. And, well, Luton have impressed in the window. That's why they've gone and spent so much money. So, I hope you win the league, Luton, because I don't want to be disappointed like last season. Well, lads and ladies, I hope you did enjoy this video. It's my third league prediction video. We've got one more to do tomorrow, and that is the championship, the big one. But I felt like I kind of struggled tonight, really, because I'm not used to really just going on to Flash Score, which is where I get my information from. Because, obviously, what I did the last two videos was I typed a detail of the transfers each team has brought in and they've sold. But I couldn't really do that with League One because like I said earlier, the squads are that big and you're going to get rid of that many players and you're going to bring that many players in. I can't really do that sort of thing. So I kind of struggle really, but I hope you lads and ladies did enjoy it either way. So, like I said, hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.